Here we go.
What is up, everybody? And I got a hot take right here. And go figure, it's by Unleash. What else is new? Sonic Frontiers possibly has the best moveset for Sonic. It allows for so much depth when simply traveling and platforming because of his many abilities. Well, that's rare right there. You're giving a compliment to Sonic Frontiers Unleash. It's a rarity right there. But wait, there's more. But then, on the other hand, it has the worst final boss in the series. So you basically mean the franchise. Okay, Unleash, now you're back to taking a loss right here. Damn it, I mean, I thought at one point you were going to have a nice take here for once. I was about to give you a W for once. But then, of course, you had to continue with this nonsense right here. You know, and obviously, you know, I get it. This is obviously a take from Hero, who said, Sonic fans, what is your favorite and least favorite thing about Sonic Frontiers? Like, wow, Hero, right off the bat, you're already automatically assuming that people hate Frontiers already. Like, seriously, kind of a dick move right there, but whatever. Now, let's go through some replies we'll go through some replies in a moment, but first of all, I'm going to show you right now that I honestly think that Sonic Lost World, the final boss, is by far the worst final boss in the franchise. Now, I understand a lot of you are going to say, but what about the 2D games? What about the Game Gear games? That would not be a fair comparison, considering the fact that back then you had limitations back then. You know, you really couldn't do much. But if we want to talk about mainline games, you know, the 3D games, that's understandable. I know a lot of you are going to say, oh, you know, a lot of the classic games may have did that. Well, at least some of the classic games, like, you know, Sonic Blast and all that shit. No. I honestly think Sonic Lost World by far was the worst true final boss in the history of the franchise, and here's why. Now, most of you are probably going to say, but, you know, oh, but it's just the same thing as Sonic Colors. I mean, how is it worse than Sonic Colors or Sonic Forces? Sonic Forces' final boss fight, you know, it can be a little challenging if you don't know what the hell you're doing, especially if you're playing on hard mode. Again, because remember, in that boss fight, you cannot switch lanes and jump at the same time. You can only jump and switch lanes at a given time. You can't cheese it. So it's one of those strategies where you actually have to do some strategy. Other than that, the boss fight, it's not too difficult, but again, I wouldn't say it's the worst. And plus, that's a 3-tier boss fight. Alright, now Sonic Colors, obviously, you do have two faces, obviously, you gotta get Eggman here and there, and of course, that cube pattern in the beginning could throw you off a bit if you don't know what the hell you're doing. But Sonic Lost World, no. This by far has to be the worst final boss fight in the history of the franchise, because you could actually beat it in one cycle. I'm not kidding you. Now, I know another candidate would be the Time Eater. I despise the Time Eater for both versions of Generations. I honestly think the 3DS version is by far the worst version of the Time Eater, just because of the timing and the patterns. It's just not as unique. I mean, let me take that back. It's decent, but the HD version is by far really, really monotonous. I hate the mainline version of the Time Eater. That fight is terrible. Sometimes you don't even know if you're hitting the thing. Sometimes it can be difficult even collecting rings to even go for a hit on the Time Eater. It's just going at a snail's pace. Like, I understand that's the gimmick, but do you have to drag the fight so long? And not only that, but you also give us one of the most boring, generic final boss themes in the history of the franchise. I mean, look at it. Look how boring it is. I understand it's probably going for like an Armageddon kind of theme, but it's just dull and boring. I mean, I never ran into a Sonic fan that literally has anything good to say about the Time Eater. They didn't like the music, they didn't like the fight, and worst of all, they hated the teen chat mechanic where your friends are constantly chatting with you, which is fucking monotonous. You have no idea how many times you have to say if that's a homing shot. You have no idea how annoying that is, seriously. Now, I know you do have the option of switching the music once you beat the game, you know, with customizable soundtracks when you get Red Star rings and all that. I understand, but I'm talking about the first experience. You know, I'm not talking about post-experience, so you can't count that. You know. Again, you know, now let's go right through some replies right now, obviously, because I want to add a lot of people's take right here. Now, here's one by Apple Slipper. I can think of worse final bosses from other Sonic games than the end. The final boss from Sonic Blast, Smiley Bomb from Sonic Labyrinth, and of course Lyric from Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, and of course the Time Eater Generations, all lot debatable. I agree that the time meter is not great here and there, but I have to say that Sonic Lost World's final boss is by far the worst. If you don't believe me, I'm gonna put three screens right now, and you tell me which one which one gets the quick kill. You're watching 3 simultaneous streams of all of the final boss, obviously. Now in Sonic Forces, we're just gonna skip to the 3rd phase, obviously, which is gonna be. And you tell me which one do I get the quick kill on, and you tell me which one is the worst of the 3, because let's be real here. You know, Sonic Colors' final boss, it's easy. Forces, easy. Lost World, piss easy if you know what you're doing, especially if you know how to get the quick kill. And you tell me in the comment sections below which one of these 3 do you think it's the worst. Because the time meter, again, it's not a fun boss fight, it's just monotonous. But at the same time, do I think it's the worst? Well, yes and no, but again, that's for all of you to decide. I honestly think, you know, because a boss fight, in order to be dubbed as the worst boss fights in the franchise, it has to be uninteresting, very boring, monotonous, and sometimes even, you know, cheap. The time meter, there's not a redeeming quality about it. Nothing. I mean, at least Sonic Lost World's final boss fight has amazing music. It's awesome. And it's Eggman. It fits the story, regardless of how stupid the story is. You know, and even then, you know, even then it just felt underwhelming. Like, really, this cool mech, and yet it can be taken out with just 2 charge homing attacks. Wow, they must think, you know, I don't know if that was intentional by not, but it's just it boggles my mind. Now, obviously, the 3DS version of that final boss fight, at least they fixed it. At least Dr. Eggman has a health meter, and he actually has better patterns in that fight. He actually uses wisps, which is cool for his patterns. But again, I'm talking about the Wii U version of the game. I know the 3DS version is a little bit more challenging, which I admire, but again, no, you're not getting brownie points off me for this. You know, it's just the way it is. So that's why update number 3 for Sonic Frontiers might fix that. The end might not be the true final boss. It might be something better. Again, only Ian Flynn knows about it as of right now, and obviously Moro Kishimoto has to be in the weeds also knowing about this, since he has to program this thing. So again, you know, Unleash, again, you know, another bad take. What else is new? And let me know what you all think about this, and I gotta get ready for work. Peace out.